Welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. This is brought to you each and every day live by Lindsay & Associates with locations in Rogers, locations also too in Fayetteville. Lindsay & Associates, we bring great neighbors together. This is also brought to you by Locomotion. It's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. It's also brought to you by Fun City. You can catch up with them just off the 412 bypass in Springdale, Arkansas. And if you don't get a chance to catch us here on our live stream from 1 to 2 each and every day, Monday through Friday up on the Hill, you can catch us on iHeartRadio as we podcast our top segment of each and every day live stream Monday through Friday of OTH on iHeartRadio in the evening. So need something to listen to in the evenings, check us out. Go to On the Hill Sports Talk and we'll let you hear what we had to talk about. But we caught up with sophomore forward Adrio Bailey. I had a chance to ask Adrio, what did he feel like he would be taking from the experience of his freshman year, and what can we expect that maybe the fans didn't see out of his game that he's added for his sophomore campaign? And this is what Adrio had to say.
And what have you learned, going into your sophomore season based on your freshman campaign?
I learned that, man, you just when you put in the work, it pays off. Starting with Darryl Macon and Jalen Barford, just pretty much all the seniors. Watching them come in each and every day, it motivates me as a young player to it makes you want to achieve like what they done and surpass that, do better than what they did.
When you talk about your game, what will the fans really notice, something that you've worked on that maybe they didn't notice in your freshman season?
I really worked on my shot, expanding my game, mid-range, threes. I even shot threes the whole offseason, ball handling. So, yeah, that's what I mostly worked on in my offseason.
How much have you guys used as motivation in that North Carolina game and the way that it ended as for motivation for this upcoming year?
We use it as motivation, but we mostly want to get, work on ourselves and get better as a team. And then when we see them, we'll see them.
That was sophomore forward Adrio Bailey from the University of Arkansas. That segment is brought to you by Lindsay & Associates. It's our fastest 40 sound bites of the day. We also want to talk to you, Demetrius, when you hear Adrio talk about things that he's worked on. I guess the hunger of this team. I asked him also too in that interview, how much did North Carolina fuel this basketball team for 2017, 2018? And it does, but to a certain degree it doesn't. I think it's motivated them in a better way in the fact that now they know they can compete with a team that just won the national championship. Is that something that you took as well from that media day interview that we attended last Wednesday?
Most definitely, and I think he's a guy that we're going to see a lot more offensive play from. He really was kind of that highlight factor that we've seen from Qualls a few years ago with the big dunks, electrifying the crowd. I think him and Darious Hall are going to be those players that kind of spark the team. But him adding that stretch out shot and stretching back to that three-pointer, I think is really going to make him a diverse player, and is really going to make him one of those players that people really have to guard against and really scheme against when it comes to playing the Razorbacks.
Another Razorback that we caught up with was sophomore shooting guard C.J. Jones. C.J.'s a guy that when I spoke with, C.J. was a guy coming in that a lot of people had high expectations from going into his freshman year. Was just in a situation where there was a lot of veteranship at that guard spot with seniors Dusty Hannas and Manny Watkins. And I had a chance to ask C.J. what he's going to bring coming into his sophomore year, and what can people expect that they didn't see from him as well. And this is what CJ told OTH.
What have you taken from that, first year of college basketball to what you feel like you can really bring to this team your sophomore season?
I feel like I just bring my athleticism and scoring ability. This year I think I'm bringing way more than I did last year, of course, especially with my athleticism on defense and offense end. So this year we'll just see.
When you have such great senior guards such as Jalen and Darryl and Anton, Manny leaving, how does that expand your role and with being able to get out and possibly be that fourth guard for this upcoming season?
Well, because I know that's got to be my spot. Like last year with Darryl coming off the bench, I got to be that Darryl this year coming off that bench and being that electric scorer coming off that bench every game.
What's the one thing that you feel like you worked on, coming out of last year that, fans will really have an opportunity to see, in CJ?
My handles, my shot, it got better, long range, and just coming off picks and getting to the rim more.
We talk about the North Carolina loss. How much has that loss fueled you guys as far as the off-season, summer weight program, heading into this season?
Yeah, well, we was really down on it at first, but now we're not worried about it. I mean, if we see him in the tournament and during Thanksgiving, we see him, but if we don't, we don't. We're really not worried about it. We're just worried about getting better each and every day.
What's the one message you would want the Razorback fan base to realize and know about this year's Fastest 40?
It's going to be a special year.
That was sophomore shooting guard C.J. Jones, another big-time prospect. I think Arkansas is going to really, Coach Anderson and staff are going to really be counting on to bring big minutes to that basketball team's success this year. I really think, when you look at this also too, Demetrius, C.J. has a chance to step in with Dusty and Manny and really add some energy and points to an already stacked guard front with Beard, Macon, and Barber, don't you think?
Yeah, I think we're going to see some interesting combinations. That was one thing Mike Anderson really talked about, is that he feels like he's really going to have a lot of guys he can really play with and bring different sets. Whether we go smallest of the small or biggest of the big, Mike Anderson was really adamant about how happy he was of the different type of combinations and the offensive sets and the strategies that this team really will be able to run this year.
And we also caught up with yet another true freshman. If you notice our sound bites today from the Fastest 40 Media Day, we gave you 2 sophomores and we're going to give you 2 freshmen as we close it out. With Darious Hall and that, you can kind of see when you look at this. Last Friday, Demetrius, we gave him the 3 seniors, Anton Beard, Jalen Barford, as well as Daryl Macon, the experience factor. And then we're bringing in a little of the future of the Fastest 40 just to show you kind of just how stable this basketball program is. And we caught up with Darious Hall. I asked Darius, just what does it mean to him that Coach Anderson feels he's Mr. Energy for this year's basketball team? And here's what Darius told me.
Some real simple questions. Coach Anderson talked about your energy level in his opening press conference. What does that make you feel like when Coach feels like you could be one of the X factors that could come off the bench and add energy to this year's team?
It made me feel like, ask that question again. I ain't understand it all the way.
Energy. Coach Anderson said you could be the energy guy for this year's basketball team. What does that do for you as far as confidence goes?
It feel like I'm going to be a big impact to the team, but I just got to come out every practice, every game, and show them that I'm willing to give him the intensity that he's looking for.
Being an in-state guy, how much do you add any more pressure playing for Arkansas with so many expectations from a lot of the in-state fans about this upcoming class?
I wouldn't say a lot of pressure, but it's a lot of folks expecting a lot out of me and a lot out of this team this year, and we just got to bring it to the table.
If you have one message to the Razorback fans about your freshman year that they can expect to see each and every time out on the basketball court this season, what would it be?
A lot of excitement, a lot of dunks, and just a lot of excitement.
That was true freshman combo guard forward Darious Hall from Little Rock, in-state prospect that a lot of fans are really excited to see what Daryl can bring to the program under the Fastest 40, Coach Mike Anderson and staff. And, we want to bring you each and every aspect of Razorback athletics, and we understand our segment was brought to you by Lindsay & Associates. All of our Fastest 40 words were brought to you by Lindsay & Associates. And we'll continue on as we're about 31 days out away from the start of Razorback basketball season. But we're going to step away, get a real quick break, and get back into a lot of SEC football talkers. We're going to bring in Will Gunner of Spurs and Feathers. We're going to recap this past weekend's game versus our beloved Razorbacks. And then, too, we're going to look ahead as they take on yet another program that needs a win really bad, the Tennessee Volunteers. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins. Back in a moment.